to the show. And here are your hosts, the diabolical Elite Gaming Guru, the illustrious RedDeadPanda, and the Australian stud Ashtrey Gaming. So let's get this party started. Shit.
And we are live.
Live? Yeah. How are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
You're a muppet.
Laughing? It's really hard. No, it's really hard because in the background I've got the "Get This Party Started" the Harry intro. So, right, okay, welcome everybody.
Mute it.
You just what? You just said we was live 5 minutes ago. Okay, from it.
We are live. What's good? Go for it.
Live now.
We're live. People can hear us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh shit!
No,
Come on.
Okay, right. Hello, welcome aboard another episode of the Gaming News Podcast, episode 78. I'm looking at RedDeadPanda here. Are we?
Nine?
9?
Yeah.
That's what I said. 9. Episode 9. Episode 9.
Yeah. That's what you said. Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us. All those in the chat. All of you. Yeah, let's go. We've got some fantastic topics, but most importantly, we've got a fantastic guest here today. Okay, Mega.
Welcome.
Oh man, appreciate it. The last time I was on here, I was filling in for RedDeadPanda. You know what I'm saying?
You never fill in.
So, yeah, so
never fill in.
well, you know what I mean. I was just coming in to because I was short
To make
so y'all
the
asked me
show
to come
better
on,
because
so.
of Elite. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
so you know,
Yeah.
came here. So now it's good to that the team is here, and so I get to work with RedDeadPanda. So you know what I'm saying. It's
Mr.
good to be back.
Mega, can I just cut Mr. K Mega? I just want to highlight you're sort of there's us and there's you. So you're sort of slightly above us, so you're never filling in. So
I don't ever consider myself to be above anything. I just enjoy talking about games, doing this type of stuff, man.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? It's always an honor when somebody asks to, hey, you wanna come to the show? So yeah, I'm always, if I got the time, I'm always down for it. So this is
fantastic.
You're very
it's
humble, K Mega.
Yeah.
But let's be honest,
We love having you on the board.
everyone's above Elite. That's a
Yeah.
fact.
Oh my God!
I mean-
Stop it!
Oh, shit.
Stop it!
Yeah, they are.
Stop it! Stop.
Before we went live, I was really congratulating on things like America. I was saying Australia's a piece of shit in my shoe.
Well, that's usual. Yeah.
Where's this going from? It's very hard.
How much have you had to drink tonight, Elite?
A lot.
More
I
than
drank a lot.
normal.
I had a lot of beers and I went on rums as well. So
Beers
I
and
just
rums.
Beers
Okay.
and rums. I was
This is
mixing
gonna
my
be a lit
drinks
show then, guys.
like a real man. It is gonna be lit.
Gonna be messy.
You said lit, right?
Yeah.
And not lick.
I said lit. Yeah, I said lit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bish bash bosh.
Sorry, K Mega.
What?
Worst day to join us.
Oh no! It's all good. It's all good. Trust me. I mean, GRG has been many times of being wild, and there's been times that I've been on the show and I've had a little bit too much of the adult beverage. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
It's all good, man. I'm ready to have some
So
fun.
we like getting the Mega on board.
Very quickly, shout out to Fuck You in the chat who has changed their name to Superflaps
Oh God.
today, just in reference to me. I was like, thanks.
Why is it called
Awesome.
Superflaps? What's your name, Superflaps? Tell us that
Elite.
story, RedDeadPanda.
It was my old gamer tag, okay? And I was like, I can't
Yeah,
be online and
Superflaps.
do this stuff with that gamer tag and not get harassed. So I
Why is
changed
it
it.
called Superflaps though? Did you have Superflaps?
Because I talk because I talk too much. Because I talk too
Oh,
much. okay?
right, okay.
A different set of lips, Elite. A different set. So you need to get your mind out of the gutter.
Can you blame him? His
No.
wife left him.
yeah.
Oh wow!
Oh, shit, by the way.
Anyway, I want to know what everyone's been playing. So I'm not really interested in what Elite has to say, but K Mega, what have you been playing, man?
Man, I went on this marathon with Persona 5 Royale. It was I had to beat it, so I beat it last Saturday. And I enjoyed it. I like I said years ago when I first had it on PlayStation that it was it's a fantastic JRPG, but it is not the best JRPG of all time, as some stated. But it's a really good quality JRPG, and I'm just happy. I'm elated that that game is that those games are finally coming to Xbox. Hopefully, we can get Striker, and then get the SMT games ported over to the box. But yeah, but no, of that after I got done with that, I was like, okay, I've played enough of the single player games right now. Let's get back to our multiplayer. So been playing COD, been playing Battlefield 2042 is much improved. So if anybody wanted to give it a shot, it's on Game Pass or EA Play, give it a shot. And then get back into playing the mighty Halo again. So coming up here tomorrow. So yeah, it's and then maybe try to sneak in some Crackdown 3 since we got some people to jump in a couple of weeks ago to play the Crackdown 3 multiplayer. So if anybody is down to join us maybe Saturday and maybe we can get a little group together, come and try to play some Crackdown. People were surprised when they played it. So
really?
That, those sorts, yeah.
I'm down for that, man, for sure.
I haven't played the multiplayer yet.
Yes. Yeah, there was a couple of Viper, Sir X-Man, a couple other people that joined us. They never played the multiplayer with us when we played, and then and we only had 6 of us, but that's all you need is like 6 people to get in. And then if you can get a full max like 5v5, it was a blast. But we played for like 4.5 hours. So that just tells you that the people who never got a chance to play the multiplayer had a really good time when we was playing it. So but yeah, no, we'll play it tomorrow evening or whatever, if anybody is down to join us.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Because I got into that for some reason too late, so I actually missed that. And when I decided to give it a shot, the servers were dead. So I'm definitely ready to jump in and give it a crack for sure. No pun intended.
Yeah, and it had a couple of maps that I've never seen before, so I was like, oh, they still worked on it. So yeah, it was. But it's fun. It's a little. You just got to play it to experience it. The destruction and all that stuff is in the game. I mean, it's nowhere near what people when an Xbox announced it back in 2015. Yeah, what it was intended to be. But you could definitely see the destruction and the potential into the game. So it's not a bad multiplayer whatsoever. It's really it's really actually fun. So, but yeah, those are the games I've been playing here lately.
Nice. I want to definitely jump in on some of that Crackdown 3 stuff. That'd be sick. Red, what have you been up to? You're a bit of a socialite, but I'm sure you've been playing some games.
I'm keen to jump in on that and Halo with you guys as usual because I'm like Ashtrey. I missed the multiplayer. It was dead by the time I got to it. But sad face.
Just add me on Xbox and it's KMega45, same name. So
done.
Great.
Okay. What have I been playing? Vampire Survivors, guys. Vampire Survivors, and I'm obsessed with it.
You have been.
And I'm just trying to smash out those achievements now. I've got like 119 achievements out of 140, maybe slightly more than that. So I'm just trying to do that, and then I started Somerville, and that is a beautiful game, like strikingly beautiful with the art style. For that small game on Game Pass. Also started Pentiment. I also think that game's interesting. I'm not far enough into it to actually give a proper opinion about whether I like it or not. But yeah. What else have I been doing? Have I been playing anything else?
Don't know.
No, just Vampire Survivors, really. It's just taken up my whole life at the moment. It's real addictive and like you can sit there in a party and just like everyone's talking about it. Everyone's just having a good time. Everyone's trying to help each other to go, this is how you do this is how you do that. Have you tried running this build? And it's lots of fun. And I really wish that it had been nominated for a like indie game of the year or something like that. Yeah.
You know what? I'd have to agree with that because it's actually got an addictive, play loop. And as you sort of progress, it keeps you wanting more and more. And I understand why people keep going back to it. And I sort of started playing it myself. And I was like, I don't really care. I'll put it down. But then I found myself going back to it again and again and again. And it's also a good game for party chats because you don't have to be paying too much attention. You can still chill and talk to people. Whereas, if you're trying to play something like A Plague's Tale or or Evil West, unless you're doing co-op in Evil West, you kind of want to just focus. So it's good for that kind of thing as well. Elite, what have you been up to, man?
You know what? You're a piece of shit fraud. Okay, sorry.
This
do you remember the discussion we had? It was you, me, and Dealer in a chat, and you were saying, "Don't play Vampires and Survivors. It's a piece of crap. All you do is walk around." You remember that chat, do you?
yeah, well, like I said, I picked it back up and I'm enjoying it now.
Piece of shit fraud. Anyway, yeah. So I've been playing Vampire Survivors as I was checking my recent videos come up, and yeah, I've been really enjoying it because it's so easy to play. You can literally just jump into it, just play a few rounds of it, and jump out of it, and just you play it in between. You know when you get your friends that say, "I've been on 5 minutes," and you could just literally just play it for 5 minutes and then jump out of it, and it doesn't affect anything else in life. So And it gives you so many fucking achievements as well for free. But yeah, it's easy to just jump into and just
And
play.
quick resume.
And I'm enjoying it. I'm not sure what you read. You said about it's graphically amazing, incredible, and
I was talking about
Lovely.
Somerville the game.
oh
If I thought that Vampire Survivors was graphically impressive, then there's something wrong with my eyesight.
yeah, it's not graphically
That's UE5 on drugs, guys.
Yeah.
UE5 on
But the
drugs.
game is
Vampire
fun.
Survivors. Uncanny
It is what it
Valley.
is. You jump into it and you just run around and you literally just move. All you have to do is move. But there's a learning curve where you have to pick different powers and whatever. It's just fun to play. I can't say anything more than it's just fun to play. It's easy to play, and it's just fun to play between games. So I can't. Oh yeah, it's a fun game. It's a great game, and I think it should be one of the nominations for Game of the Years, which we'll get into later.
Indeed, we will.
Yeah, we will do. I've been playing Code Exiles. I've downloaded it and get back into it. That's the other game I've been playing. So, shut your face.
That's not surprising at all.
Yeah, I know. I've been summoned back. I've been asked to come back. People need me. The bat signal, the EliteGamingGuru signal went up. People need me to raid people
For
and
Conan.
my PvP, experience and stuff, which will probably actually run into the game nominations. Sort of my topic on my points on this, but so I'm gonna start making videos on Conan. Also, looking at my my views on Conan, they're actually really quite high. They're higher than some of my videos. They're hitting like 10k, 20k sort of views on.
There you go.
So yeah, I'm gonna go back into there we go. So yeah, people like watching my content on that. So it's got nothing to do with I'm making videos on it whatsoever.
Nothing to do with you being any good at that game. Yeah.
So so I'm going back into Conan and gonna So yes, I can't do it. It's hard to say too much and do too much on it because it's a PvP game and it's live. You don't want to say too much because anyone watching your stuff, it will give the game away and they will take advantage of it. That's the whole thing about MMOs, and this is why my account. People say, "Oh, you're logged off. I can't look up your account." A lot of it is you're logged out. You're continuously offline, and you close your account so people can't look you up because it does give a lot away about your character and stuff like that. So people that play MMOs generally just lock their accounts, which what I've done. So anyway, that's enough about me.
Yeah, let's start something, right?
Indeed. I've got some Somerville gameplay up. It's not really that great gameplay, but anyway, it's okay.
It's not great.
I'll have to jump back because I haven't really done any recording lately, so I'm probably going to have to default back to something like Fortnite or some crap. But I'll switch it up.
No.
But yeah, let's start our first topic. 2 former Square Enix employees have been arrested on suspicion of insider trading. Did you guys hear about this during the week?
Yep, and I clapped my hands.
I'm glad you said hands.
Shit. We're really starting today.
We're going straight off with that. We're going
And that's the show, guys. That's the show.
Sorry, Mr. K-Bigger.
I got you. Yeah.
Anyway, anyone can jump in at any time. You know, we don't have to default to our guest all the time to make him go first. Anyone can jump in. Let's do it. Just anyone pick it up.
Shall I read off what was said about it?
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna read now.
The suspense is
Good.
killing us,
Put on good
Elite.
balls.
Suspense is killing us.
Well, two former employees of Square Enix have been arrested in Tokyo under suspicion of potential insider trading. Shit.
That's what I said. Yep.
Japanese yeah, you did this. I just going over what you just said.
I think he's just making sure he knows what topic we're talking about
I
today.
just wanted to cover the
Um,
I got the T's. Japanese tech site Automation reports that it's got some names now in Japanese. I'm not going. Sasaki and Fumaki Sasaki.
As I always say, let you be. When I can't pronounce something, I just say, "Let me be country." That's all you just need to say. Just let you be country. That's okay.
That's it, and that's what I'm reading on screen. Were arrested for acquiring stock in Japanese developer Aiming shortly before it was announced that it was working on a new Dragon Quest game. Also, so that's probably a giveaway there. Actually, there's a new Dragon Quest game coming out. Anyone care?
Nope.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I like Dragon Quest. That's a,
I've never actually played. They're in GamePass, aren't
the last one was. I don't think it's still there. It might be.
they? Are they good games? As we've got you,
Yeah, they're fun.
What are they about?
Basically, I mean, it's kind of follow the whole trope of a lot of like Japanese games, but it is an action JRPG. You're in this world. You're in a village, and then mysterious forces comes into your comes in, and then you go on an adventure with friends, or then you like add people to the team, and then and then the combat is really sweet. So, and it gets of course, just kind of like with any other game, you gain more powers. It has the RPG elements in it.
Is it
But it's,
turn-based combat?
No, but it's not turn-based. That's what I'm saying. It's action. So
Okay.
it's you don't have to do any turn-based. But so the older ones used to be, but not, not this last one.
Yeah, so I'm sort of sidestep now away from the main topic, just to sort of cover JRPGs, because I play Persona 5 on the Xbox, so it's on Game Pass now, and I did enjoy it. It was far too much dialogue, and I thought the turn-based thing was very basic.
If you,
But
that's
you're
the
a
one thing
massive
about
fan
it.
of
It
Persona
takes
5, yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, but that is reality for a game like that, because it's a really large game in the sense of content, and you really don't get fully into Persona to see some of its true potential until maybe after the 7th to 10th hour. It kind of gets a little repetitive because it's building up the story, and so once you get familiar with what's going on with the surroundings, and then all of a sudden, boom, it kind of hits, and then you're like, okay, this is pretty interesting. And then when you start releasing your powers and doing other stuff, and it really picks up. So like when with Persona, you could be playing, it's according to what level that you play on. I played it on hard. I didn't get to damn near the full potential of what I could do until about the 110th hour. And that's just showing of how much that you can do within the game. So it's very in depth. And it definitely, like you said, it's a lot of story dialogue, but I think what they do well is the voice acting, and also kind of like making you get familiar with the characters, like some other Japanese games or games I should say from the East. It's kind of difficult to kind of follow because the trends is totally different out there compared to out here in the West. But you can follow it really well because of the really good voice acting and stuff like that. So, in my opinion, it's just if you can't handle that first 7 to 10 hours, then it's not going to be the game for you. That's just the reality.
I'll play with Mo's, and I get all that. I get all the points you're making. But it's just far too much dialogue for me, and I struggle with it. But
that's because you've got a reading level of a 3-year-old Elite. It's okay.
No, I need PvP, and I need sort of a story that leads to me sort of really quickly for me to just fight people and beat people up. So
there's no PvP in Vampire Survivors.
There's not, no. But you don't need a brain to
teasing
play a game.
I'm teasing ya.
Yeah. But anyway, let's go back to this point. So two reportedly purchased. So the two guys reportedly purchased around 47 million in
Yen.
stock in aiming, in aiming. Just before it was publicized, confirmed that it was developing a mobile title Dragon Quest Tactic. So so that's basically they bought stock in a game that they knew was going to come out prior to it being advertised. It was going to come out. So yeah, what's your takes on that, guys?
Using insider information to then try and to sell
Make
stock when
money.
it got an increased value.
Yeah.
I think that's shit. And I'm glad that they got arrested, and now Square Enix has come out saying they're helping with the investigation, and we're very clear that they were former employees. Clearly, they would be saying that they would need to distance themselves from that as much as possible. But yeah, being under investigation for that. It's just that's how crap happens, and that's what I don't like the stock market, and I don't do anything to do with it. But it just pisses me off. I mean, I guess it's always that that risk of people if they have insider knowledge, they think hey, maybe I'll be fine, and then they get caught out for doing it. So yeah, I don't have much to say on this other than good on them and for getting arrested.
Well, at least they're trying to do something to stop it from happening in the future by obviously making the information, the confidential information, a bit harder to access for lower level employees, and then obviously keeping a track on who's buying shares, especially around, before a launch of a new game, and because they would have to know who's purchasing them, being it's all public. And then if they notice there's employees trying to purchase stocks, or family members of employees, they'll obviously question that. So, and then prevent the sales of that going through. Because obviously, if you buy it low and sell it high, you're making money, and it affects their stock for the company as well. So it happens all the time in business. I mean, this isn't sort of really a new thing to happen, but these two clearly got caught, and tough luck. That's what you get for trying to make a quick buck, I guess. But that's all I have to say on that one. That was a pretty good opening topic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing that I agree with what everybody is saying, I mean, it basically just sounds like they were looking for early retirement. And, or maybe something that maybe need to be looked at is that maybe Square Enix isn't paying certain devs what they feel that they're worth. That can be an issue as well. But I mean, again, it is greed, not right, to do anything like that. If we could have the same type of regulations for politicians and people in entertainment, then in the business world as well, then we would be in a lot better place. But yeah, I mean, that type of greed is not necessary or needed, and it basically it does make Square Enix look a little bit irresponsible for the reasons to have to have their information so easily out there to where it could be obtained,
exploited.
Like that. So so that hopefully they'll maintain and we'll get it right and get it better going forward.
I mean, a lot of people don't view at the moment. Well, not a lot of people, but some of us who are aware of what's been happening with Square Enix, aren't really holding Square Enix up in a great light with all the stuff that they've been doing. So I guess this is just another thing that kind of negatively impacts their brand and their image in that respect as well. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Yeah, it just, I mean, you have to watch out. You have to do better with that, to have your information to be so laxed. That to me is one of the things that, of course it was an inside job, but if those two guys got, did it, then that kind of leads to another question of how many people knew outside of that. Because I mean, it could have been just an inside thing between those two, but I don't know, for them to get a hold of that information. I mean, were they looking for it, or was this something that was going on beforehand? And and all that. So there's a lot of other questions. There could be a deep rabbit hole, or maybe it can end
Investigation
with,
as to
yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
we'll find out more information, I'm sure, about it.
Considering like it's you look at what level they were in, they really have to look at and safeguard that information to make sure that the people who have access to that information are going to be doing the right thing around that. Like with any company, if there's something that's confidential information, and you're the only ones who know about it, then you're going to get heavily scrutinized in that
Right,
respect. Yeah.
right, right. So, were they now? I don't. When I was reading the article, they didn't say if they were in higher positions. Do anybody know if they were in a higher position? Because that would make more sense, or were they just just two just guys that were just worked for the studio, and then they just got access to the information?
That's how I kind of took it, because it didn't explain, it didn't go into detail what their positions were, but I kind of felt
Okay.
that they were probably lower level, that probably got information that they weren't supposed to have, and that's probably what kicked it off. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
if
I'd say
if
so.
upper
Right.
management have that information, well, that's part of their job. That's their pay grade, right? But if
Right.
lower level guys are getting this kind of information, and then buying shares, that's probably what rang the bell and made it stick out. So that's why
Right.
I took it as lower level employees.
Hmm.
I would make that same assumption there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but
Makes
we
sense.
don't know. We don't know for sure.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know what because every country is different. I mean, obviously it's an illegal act regardless of which country, but all countries treat that kind of stuff differently. So it'll be interesting to know what kind of punishment they actually end up getting. Is it, how long's the prison sentence, or whatever they get? So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that pans out, if there's any further information in the future on it.
Yeah, imagine if they hung or something. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is. But yeah, who knows?
Microsoft Studios. Should we congratulate Microsoft Studios for 2022 for the Clio Entertainment Awards getting Publisher of the Year?
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
really surprised by this. I was like,
Everyone?
Cleo? Who's
Yeah.
Yeah.
this?
No. Absolutely. Yeah. No. For real. Yeah. I mean, especially for the lack of first party
I know, right?
games. I mean, it's kind of it's kind of crazy for them to be nominated for anything in that regard. But yeah, no, that just shows that gaming is a lot bigger than what a lot of people on the internet try to make it out to be. Like, there's so
Exactly, yeah.
much more layers within gaming than just the AAA IP.
Yeah.
And that's a positive thing.
It doesn't go into a hell of a lot of detail on what they sort of did exactly to get that, because some people are saying it's a marketing thing, some people it's creativity.
It is creativity within like trailers, um, uh, uh, the marketing aspect of it, the creativity of like for instance, like when you watch a commercial, or if you watch an ad for like for the Game Pass, where they've had different Game Pass um commercial or ads or whatever, and just the what they put into it to make it appeal, or it must have gained some attention, so that's why they got the rewards. Or if in game trailers, things like that, that's what I was reading about it when I was going through and I was checking it out,
I think it's
what awards they
yeah.
got.
My understanding is there's a whole multitude of things, like a holistic sort of view of what
Hmm.
Microsoft and Xbox Studios have been doing within the last 12 months. So it's nice to see that they're getting recognized for that. And I was surprised that maybe PlayStation or Sony didn't didn't get the award, but I think the two approaches from the companies are very, very different. And I mean, wasn't Microsoft and Xbox Studios, did they get Publisher of the Year by Metacritic last year with the highest Metacritic
Yes,
score overall?
yes, they
Yep.
won. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess it's just interesting because there's a lot of factors taken into it. Like, you're right, there's been not very many games released on that would be first party for this year, but they've had so many other games releasing day and date into Game Pass, indies, um, third party deals, all of that. So there's been lots of games for the brand to be seen, like for us to see, might be smaller titles, but lots of things for us to play this year, heavily towards the end of the half of the year because everything got delayed to the like end of the year. So I just can't keep up with the amount of games actually coming into Game Pass at the moment. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I don't need a second person. I have a second person, but she doesn't game on. My twin does not game on my profile, so I just can't play enough. I don't have enough time.
Indeed. Well, if it's to do with creativity and the trailers that they've been releasing over the last sort of 12 months or so or longer, probably, yeah. I mean, I'd have to agree. They've been fairly entertaining. I still think the Xbox marketing needs a bit of a shake-up, to be honest with you, but that's just my opinion. I know a lot of people out there will probably disagree, but I feel that they still don't do enough.
I agree.
I agree.
Still don't see a lot
No,
of,
I agree.
cool. That's good. Because I still don't see a lot of ads on YouTube in between videos that are Xbox. I still don't see enough on buses. I don't see enough of it. And I see PlayStation predominantly doing that. I mean, I'll watch an Xbox video and there's a bloody PlayStation ad in between. And that shits me. I'm like, obviously that's clever on their end. I just don't know why Xbox isn't sort of more doing more of that on their side, because they could be. Yeah. And they could be targeting PlayStation videos. So maybe that's why I'm not seeing them, because I don't really watch PlayStation videos. Maybe that's what.
Well, I think one of the reasons is because of the lack of certain content that would garner people to get excited, and instead of using resources for, let's just say, a game that comes as Dust Falls, which is a fantastic game, right? But it's not one of those. But it's not a game that would generate the same type of buzz, right? Like you show a God of War, if you show The Last of Us or whatever. And really, if you think about it, Sony advertising has been very light, unless it's a game that they've marketed, because Gran Turismo wasn't shown heavily. Only 2 games that I've seen them really heavily, 3 games, is Call of Duty, God of War, and Horizon Forbidden West.
I was just gonna say
I mean, we didn't see anything for Stray. We didn't see anything for Sifu. We didn't see anything for countless other games. So that's so for Xbox has been doing it a different way, but I definitely agree with you that it needs to be much more effective. But I think because of the drought, because of the reason why they can't be aggressive is because of the certain type of content that they have. Now, of course, Game Pass, they've showed tons of Game Pass advertising. I've seen tons of that, even like through sport, like watching like NBA or NFL games, which that was something that I thought that they needed to do a hell of a lot more on that, because that's people. A lot of people just don't watch live TV anymore, except for if it's a sporting event or like some kind of award show or something of that nature. But like just watching
the only time I get stuck watching ads is on YouTube, because I ain't paying to get ad-free YouTube unless you can give me like a family plan type thing where we all pay and then I can have like 5 other people and we don't get ads.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's true too. That's something that's different now. I do pay for premium myself because the ads get on my nerves. But
that's so frustrating.
It is. It's very frustrating. But it's really convenient when you want to just watch a video without something interrupting you or whatever. But I also understand though as well is that the content is just not there to kind of garner that type of energy. Even though there's just people like Panda said, like we've been playing a lot of games, more games that we can even just to sit back and enjoy, because there's just so much out there to play. But that's I mean, why waste resources when next year is when it's really going to be balls to the wall, and then you're going to show all this content that's going to be coming out, and then that'll get the needle moving for sure. So if they don't do that next year, then I would definitely agree with you, Ashtrey, is that there's just like marketing has to get get their shit in gear on that.
Yeah, because the thing is, I haven't seen a hell of a lot of Game Pass ads. I've seen a few, but not that many. But now's the time. Like there's no sort of AAA bangers, but there has been a lot of different games. A lot of them are smaller indie games and stuff like that. But I think that they should be still pushing that because it's still saying, "Hey, we're here. We've got games." And it's not geared to the hardcore, it's geared to the casuals, it's geared to the general population. So those games still sell and people like them. So I still think they need that presence. And when you don't have big AAA games, I think that's when you need to have a presence in marketing to show people that you're there. And I think they should, be advertising Game Pass when games like God of War or Ragnarok drop. They should have been putting heaps of Game Pass ads out and flooding it at that same time. And that's the sort of shit Sony does. They'll know when an Xbox game drops and they'll start advertising something and pushing it around the same time. And that's what they're clever about doing. And Xbox doesn't seem to really do that, or not enough at least. And I think that's where they kind of need to be a little bit more like PlayStation in that way and be a bit more ruthless. You got a game coming? Yeah. Well, we got Game Pass and look at all these games coming. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, Xbox does it does make the effort to promote itself. It does need to. Yeah, I don't know why they've never done that. So Microsoft, but yeah.
I mean, they used to do that, and then they went real quiet because they didn't have games and funding and all of that stuff.
I don't know. Have they ever really done that? Have they ever done it? Really?
The 360 days, man. They used to advertise a lot. Yeah.
Because they had COD back then.
Yeah. Doing quiet.
The beginning of the Xbox One, the first year that they advertised real heavy. I mean,
they did.
I think everybody remembers the "Come On" commercial when that. I thought that was really, really awesome. And that was still kind of where they had where they were showing Titanfall. They showed a guy, a Forza guy in a car, and then they would have the guy from Rise, and they were in a museum, and it was a really cool commercial. And they were just saying like, come on, the Xbox One. That was pretty much the last part of their advertising strategy or their marketing that was on the level of what the 360 was. I think they're just waiting because of what's to come here coming in next year. I mean,
I think next year we're gonna see it.
Well, the good thing about
GamePass
that
is also going to be ridiculous as well. So on top of they're going to have AAA content to drop. So
the good thing about that is next year's around the corner now. So looking forward to it.
Looking forward to Redfall. That'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Hellblade 2 for me.
So, that's my game of the year for next year. Hellblade 2. If it comes out, that's my most anticipated game for next year.
I think that's it. I think Redfall is going to be a silent assassin. I think that's going to do really well, much better than people assume. I think people have forgotten that game, and I think it's going to just do really well. I think.
Yeah, we're going to be spoiled next year. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Motorsport's going to be amazing too.
TechRadar come out and said there's never been a worse time to buy a PlayStation 5. So TechRadar come out, yeah.
I mean, that's a real clickbait article title if I've ever seen one.
If you read through it, it's based on, and I'll go through their points.
Opinion.
Opinion. Well, it does actually say it's opinion, but it is based on VR2 being overpriced, the console price being raised, the price of consoles being raised,
price of the new DualSense Edge. Yep.
Yeah, he mentions DualSense Edge, the price that going up, and also it's just the lack of the forward planning for the PlayStation 5. What games has it got coming out for it? Yada yada yada. And that's his opinion. And he does say it's my opinion based on those statements, stats. There's never been a worse time to buy a PS5 based on that. What do you think?
Well, question for K Mega. Black Friday for you guys is now, right? Are there any PlayStation 5 deals?
No.
None.
What?
Haven't seen any. No, haven't seen any. I'm sure that there's something out there, but I mean, we would have seen it by now And I mean they would have been advertised like crazy, but because I was looking, I was looking to see if they had any deals on even just on the discless PlayStation 5. Nope, nothing,
Yeah.
nothing.
So that's my point, right? And
Yeah,
although Xbox hasn't had any deals on the Series X, they've had plenty of deals on the Series S. And we've seen that quite a bit through Twitter. I think it's Wario64 and a few others post deals that happen. And we've seen the Target one that had the free version of COD with it. We've seen it at other retailers that are, $230, and there's cashback deals and things like that. So they've been really pushing the Series S quite a lot. And I was like, hang on a sec, has there been any PS5 deals? Because I haven't seen any myself. But I don't live in America, so I was like, well, that would be a great question to ask yourself, being that you have, better chance of knowing than me.
the prices are even more extravagant. I'm looking at Walmart's Black Friday. It's $569.99. For
569.99.
like cute. Well,
Is it the
that's what I'm saying.
Ragnarok bundled one?
Yeah, it's a bundle with a Horizon Forbidden West.
Have
The
they not put the God
there's
of War up?
the God of War one
Same price?
is 707 at
Yeah.
Walmart.
Damn.
707.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 707. QVC, they have one for $800, and it has. Let me look. It has. You get an extra controller. You get headphones. You get PlayStation Store. You get $25 PlayStation Store credit. You also get a family game and service suite. I don't know what that is, but yeah, and then you get a holder of your controllers, which I guess maybe it's a power like a strip like you get for like your Xbox controller where it powers it up or whatever, so you can put both of your controllers in. But that right there is $800. It's and then you get God of War.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's not
yeah.
really.
Yeah.
It's not really much of a deal, really, is it? Especially when you look at the entry level, rising costs on everything. It's really not sort of.
You look at it for Australia. What's the price in Australia for a PS5 right now? Because the price in New Zealand for for the Ragnarok edition is $1,019, and a Series X by itself is $800. $220 price difference between the consoles.
Yeah, so here in Australia, it's a little bit less than that, but it's $905 for the God of War Ragnarok console. So just over 900.
That to me is a laughable thing, and like looking at the price difference between the PS5 and the Series X. That's laughable.
Wow. I do have to say this. Okay, so I finally found a digital edition. It's also been raised by $50. I didn't know that. That's what I wanted to know. Was that going to be raised to $50 as well? So it's $450.
So that's even worse around, because people are like, well, they're kind of, when it first got announced for the discless version, and they were like, well, it's just $100 difference between the Series S and the PS5 discless, and now it's like that divide is getting even bigger now as a result. That's insane.
That's nuts. Yeah. And if you want the PlayStation Pro, that's the PlayStation Pro is that was refurbished. That's $348. But if you get just a regular PlayStation Pro, that's $419.
Damn, man, you can pick up a Series S
at Target.
Yeah.
At Target. That I'm reading this stuff right here. Like I just typed in Black Friday deals for PlayStation. This is all I see. I mean, what I'm saying? This is it. Like it's insane. It's insane. Because I know I looked for it for because they kind of give you an advertisement beforehand about within the end of October. And I said, I don't see any PlayStation 5 deals at all. And then I said, well, maybe there'll be one the week after. Nope. And now this is my last time that I just looked, and as you hear,
It's just
they're making the
arrogant,
prices.
or
Yeah,
arrogant.
yeah, it's arrogant. It's arrogance for
They
sure.
don't need to sell their. They don't need to sell their they don't need to compete with Xbox basically because people just buy their console regardless.
Well, because it's the brand recognition, right?
Right.
If they're wanting to buy it, they will buy it. And I mean, like Series S right now in New Zealand, $429. It's $120 off. It's usually $549. That's insane price and value when you look at what that little box can do. Because I own one and I love it to death.
Absolutely. It's an arrogance for sure. But it's like I've said this before in previous shows. It's Jim Ryan's arrogance and short-sightedness. He's just trying to get short wins and not look at the big picture. Although encountering that, some people say, well, a lot of people have short-term memories, and even if they're not happy about it now, they'll probably still buy the console, and then in halfway through the generation or towards the end, they'll have even sort of forgotten about it all, and it's all happy days, kumbaya. So, that does tend to happen quite a bit. Sony tends to get a free pass on a lot of this stuff. But again, to counteract that again as well, I've been seeing a lot of people switch over to Xbox.
Yeah.
Game Pass deal is looking pretty good right now, isn't it?
I mean, I haven't. I think don't you get a card of a free
Like
month
14
of
day,
or something? Yeah, right.
yeah, it's about a month of a 14-day free trial or something.
So I mean, you pick up a Series S, if you don't want to, especially if you're not, if you're new to gaming, right there's just value, and then you get, 14 days or a month of Game Pass. Bam, you're in.
And if you've never gamed on Xbox before, the actual value in the service, the amount of games that you would have never tried that were only on Xbox are there for you to try out for the first time. So, and there's lots of games that are there if you want to play some EA games that you maybe didn't buy day and date, and they come out 6 months later to EA Play, and it's just a great quality service in that respect, and it's just the entry level to access those games is really key because the world is financially struggling, and I guess I mean this article is heavily opinion based, and to each their own. Like everyone's going to find value in different things, and people will value what PlayStation is offering, and people also not value it. And this person has just taken a look at it in a very taken a seat back, looked at what PlayStation is doing, and said, right, well, there's not really a good reason to buy a PS5 at the moment because PlayStation is basically raising the price in every aspect. And we were talking about the cost of the PSVR 2 is going to be over $1,000, like in our countries. Like I think it's $1,000 in Australia, so it'll be more than $1,000 in New Zealand. That's insane just for entry level into PSVR. So I think I understand from a technical aspect the cost and why the PSVR is that price based on the R&D and everything that they put into it, and they're going to have to try and recoup any losses and so on and so forth. But there's no backwards compatibility with PSVR 2, which is frustrating. And it's going to make it, I feel like, even more niche in that market because they're not actually challenging the other VR systems in the market already by offering it at a price point like that. The DualSense Edge, they are very, very hush-hush about the battery life in that new controller. And it's like, be transparent. If you're going to rob your consumers blind, tell them why you're robbing them blind. It just feels like
because the consumers will defend them regardless.
Their silence on the battery life on that is deafening. Exactly. But yeah, look, I think just going back to the topic at hand, it isn't a great time to buy a PS5. It's not a great time to buy a console really at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Realistically, but if you're going to pick an Xbox in terms of value for money and accessibility into the gaming, it's just, I mean, again, you load up Game Pass. They still haven't changed that number. They just say 100 plus games. I think it's closer to like 400 or it's a high 300s. There's heaps of games in there now.
It's over 400, I thought. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's value right there. And I mean, although it launched in a shit state, Battlefield 2042 dropped in there.
Yeah, it did. It did
I'm
indeed.
good with
It's
that.
and it's
That's
and it's
huge.
greatly improved. I've been playing the hell out of it here for the last 3 days. And it's greatly improved. It's nowhere near as buggy. It has it's much more in depth. It's kind of changed back to the loadouts. But it's just the value overall. And see, the thing is just the entry of having the S, of getting the S, and if you want to wait on the Series X, like I think people will be impressed with the S, especially when I've seen prices as low as $183.
Damn.
And then I've seen prices as low as $183. I've seen the highest that I've seen it since Black Friday has been like 230. So that right there to get people to jump aboard, and for those that will say, "Oh well, man, tax time," I think I'm gonna go ahead and get that Series X. Especially if they bought them a television for during Black Friday and they picked up an S, then they can just go ahead and they can move on up during tax time because Game Pass is definitely the selling point right now, but it is, and what people don't really seem to understand who aren't into, they say that they're not into Game Pass and they want, because I remember Noof would be 100%. My boy Don, he was 100% not on board with it. Like, I'll just buy my games, I'm not worried about it. Now they both use it because they eventually seen a particular game that they liked, and then it speared into like, well, let me try this game. Let me try this game. Oh, and then next thing you know, they have continued to get the service. Now they still probably will buy their games. Like, I mean, I still buy certain games, but just having the opportunity to play games that you have always looked at, but you've been waiting for a sale, and then maybe you skipped over because of the fact that there was a game that you really wanted and you got that instead. That's something special. Like, that's almost kind of like going back to renting games from like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video out here, and just your mom and pop video store to where you just go and you would rent games. I mean, it's just different. And then you have those it still has that same vibe and that same feel. Like, if even when you want to buy that game, you could get it on a discount. Like, it's just a winning strategy all around, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So-
Elite, do you have anything else on that topic?
No, I was just going to say. So, Jez Gordon actually tweeted recently about Xbox. So, what's the right term? Tweeted. Xbox reportedly offered Sony a 10-year deal on Call of Duty. So after all that, they offered him 3 years, and Sony said, "No, that's not good enough because, like, well, for the gamers, you're not." Yada yada yada. So Xbox offered them 10 years, but they've not returned fire, and they've kept very quiet. I'm going to take that quietness as a rejection. What do you guys think?
I think
And why?
I think Jim's he hasn't responded yet because he's still got his thumb in his mouth and he's asleep under his blankie. Because he's such a baby. I've been thinking about this because this has been out for a little while now, this news, and I've been thinking about it more and more, and I was like, why wouldn't you take it? Because it won't be, I doubt it's going to be 10 years and then that's it. It'd probably roll over to another deal,
They'll
10 and 5,
renegotiate,
and
yeah.
it'll be something. I mean,
I don't think it will be, to be honest.
I do.
I think the opposite.
Xbox is all about money, man, and they don't want to upset the gamers. And I've got no problem with it being on PlayStation. I prefer it to be exclusive just because I'm a prick like that. But I can understand from a business sense that they would keep it. But you're never going to have a deal that's indefinite. That's just dumb business. It has to have some sort of expiry date. So 10 years is very, very good. I think that they haven't responded because if they do, that shows a little bit of weakness from what they've been saying, because they want to block this deal. They want to stop it completely.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're only using Call of Duty as their bullet, but there's more to it than that. We all know this, and it goes far beyond one game. But they're only focusing on this one particular game for some reason. And maybe it's short-sightedness again on their part, and they're only seeing the short-term effect that it's going to have, or that revenue they're going to lose, some of the player base that's going to lose. But there's going to be people out there. The Sony brand is so strong, people will still buy it in many ways. I just think that it's they want it dead, so they don't want to accept it, and that's pretty much where it's kind of at this point.
I just jump in. I just agree with you.
Okay.
I think they're quite they're quite happy to offer a 3-year deal or 10-year deal, with the perception that eventually, just like the 360 when it sort of moved over to the PlayStation 4, where the majority of players are on the 360, then slowly sort of migrated to the PS4 because of the deals and stuff they had. I think they're banking on that same thing happening. So I think they're quite happy to offer a 3-year deal or a 10-year deal, with the future planning that the majority of players, of COD players, will migrate back to the Xbox. Once you've got the majority, you can then drop the minority of the PlayStation players and drop them, because you know that majority will then probably just buy an Xbox to play it. But as long as you've got the majority on your console, then you don't really care for the minority. You know they will switch over if you just cut the line. They will just jump over, and I think that's their plan. That's why they're quite happy to just say, yes, we'll give you 10 years, because they're probably thinking, yeah, 10 years is easily enough for them to migrate over, easily enough for us to dominate, easily enough to people to recognise that Game Pass, because we put the game on day one on Game Pass, easy enough for people to migrate over, and that's it. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. What do you think? I think it's a bit different than that. Yeah, a bit more. I just don't think they want to agree to the deal.
Well, I was going to let the
it'll
lady go
put them
first.
in a bit of a corner. Yep.
Well, it's I think it's multiple things. Of course, one is, which I think a lot of people haven't really talked about, is that they would be paying Microsoft money to have COD on their platform, and they wouldn't get the same perks that they were getting from Activision. So that's one factor. On top of that, that money that they would generate from Sony, that would go towards Game Pass. I mean, that's a given, because COD's going to make its money by itself regardless. So so that extra money that Microsoft would be getting from Sony would be from going into other resources, but most likely probably getting better deals with other publishers and studios for games to land on Game Pass. The other thing too is it's just the fact of, like I said, like Sony is doing a scorched earth approach on this. They've gone all in. They want to try to throw as many monkey wrenches into this as possible, because of the fact if they can, because they know that this deal, if it's looked at properly, I know a lot of people are looking at the CMA because the way the CMA is talked, and they've seemed to side with Sony on this. But I personally can't see this deal not going through and Sony getting the deal blocked. I think that Sony is looking at it as like, we go to scorched earth approach, and then what we can get is probably concessions. And that's probably the best case scenario for them, is to try to get concessions. But then and so that's why they probably rejected the deal in the first place. It was like, well, we can get concessions, then that means COD can stay on PlayStation without us having to maybe pay a certain amount, or the normal 30%, or however much the percentage is, or Microsoft can't try to squeeze them out over time. by saying, okay, well, we're raising the prices on our games, so we're going to raise the price on you so you can pay us. So Sony could say, well, we're not paying you anything extra. Fine. Well, we offered it, but you didn't want to pay it, so therefore we'll keep it exclusive.
Yep.
So that's another. I think that's another thing too that Sony is why they're holding off. But it is childish. This is the most ridiculous that I've ever seen Sony look. That's why you want some of the PlayStation content creators out here that just want this to be over with and go away, because they try, but they're losing public perception. And Sony thought that they could cry a river enough to get the public on their side. And what people are saying, like, look, this is business. I mean, look at what you've done. You've done the same thing, when you first jumped into the gaming industry, and when people knows that type of history, and then also just people don't like a complainer like that. So, like, for you to complain like this, it almost looked like, well, you're the market leader. Why would you not want this competition? You shouldn't even be afraid of this. So they're not, public perception is just not on their side on that, especially from when you see all the articles and stuff that's coming out from media that's been on Sony's side for the most part.
Now, K-Mega, knowing that COD is a huge game, it's a huge franchise, and we know that it did 800 million in the first weekend, and it's massive. We can't understate that, right? But do you think that Sony, Jim Ryan, are being again short-sighted, going only after this one game? There's so much more to it, though, right? Because they're not looking at the future, the mobile market, the PC market, and I just don't think
Sony has a strong mobile market. A lot of people don't know that one of their biggest IPs is a mobile game. So they Sony is not really worried about, I mean, I'm sure that they're looking at it and like, oh man, Candy Crush and stuff like that, but that's more, I think, an Apple or Google or something like that that's really heavy into the mobile space. Sony is just looking at the fact of how big of a cash cow Call of Duty has been for them, and it's the number one selling game every year for them. Every year it outsells even their first party IPs. So when you lose something like that to where you can't brag about that being over there, or the perks that comes with Call of Duty being on PlayStation through PlayStation's marketing, that's a hit. That's a major hit to them. Now, could they have done? They can go with. There's tons of other shooters out there, like Battlefield is one, but of course they burn bridges, and that's another thing too that I think a lot of people are now starting to see. I said months prior was that they're going to burn bridges with Activision.
Yep.
And today, or it was last night, I believe it was today or yesterday, where one of the representatives from Activision made a statement and was actually going after Sony and the CMA. And then today there was a report that was saying that Activision is 100% behind. If they need to take the CMA to court, they will do it. That right there is almost a sign of like, okay, Sony, if you mess this up for us, you might not ever have the marketing rights to COD again. And for what they said to EA about Battlefield, this could be a crazy scenario where Microsoft could have the marketing rights to Battlefield and own COD. Think about that, because Sony just keeps on disrespecting, and this stuff has gotten public. Normally these things don't get public, and so they can all hash it out, and then Sony can be buddy and say, we're sorry, this is just business. But this has been so public, all this shit now has turned into something a lot more deeper, and then public perception, because then you have employees that's looking at this. And then my last point on this is also the publishers, the studios within Sony themselves, like they're basically saying that Call of Duty is so much more important than anything else that Sony has produced or may be producing with their online games. What kind of morale does that give to the in-house studios of saying, what, look, this game here is much more important than the stuff that we make that earns that wins awards and is always nominated and we get all this praise. So all this stuff doesn't mean anything. I think right now that Sony is burning so many bridges, you would think that they would stop all of their head, but like I said, it's a scorched earth approach, and I think it's going to bite them in the ass at the end of the day.
Indeed, man.
Well,
Red.
also look at this and go, that 10-year deal, there's obviously something else that is going on behind it that we don't know. And I reckon part of that 10-year deal is right now with the marketing and such and trying to keep the game off Game Pass. I reckon part of that 10-year deal will be that the game will go to Game Pass, and so they'll be competing heavily in that respect. And I can understand why they don't want to accept that 10-year deal, but you can't actively ask Xbox to offer COD in perpetuity because, like everyone's been saying this whole week, since this was announced, or even since the ABK deal and all of that, and with Phil going like it's going to be on PlayStation as long as there's a PlayStation to launch the game on. You can't just go, you have to make this game available forever on PlayStation. You just can't. That game might not be here in 10 years' time. And the fact that they are offering it to be there in 10 years' time on PlayStation is key. And I understand they want to protect their loyal fan base. They want to make sure that the sales are coming through them, and they really want to kind of not disadvantage anyone in that respect. But they're not going to own it. They're not going to have the same clout that they would have had before. And I think the biggest thing for them is like PlayStation, like itself feels like it's a bit in mourning in that respect, and they're a bit hurt by it all. And Jim crying about it and trying to make it seem like Xbox are the big bad coming in, and all that conversation about the leaks with the FTC about how they Xbox could raise the console price. PlayStation already did that. Like there's just so many contradictory statements that they're saying, like Xbox could do this, Xbox could do that. I'm like, you did this stuff. And you're complaining about the potential possibility of Microsoft doing it. Look what you did to Sega when you came in the market, when you first came into gaming. You upset it completely, and then and it's just now there's someone who's got a bigger wallet who can actually challenge you to some degree, and is obviously taking your biggest cash cow. You're not happy about it. I understand why you're not happy about it, and I know you're looking out for your consumers and in regards to the money that they can give you in that respect, because it's not about for the gamers, it's about their bottom line at the end of the day. And all they're focusing on is that one IP. And that's what annoys me about this whole ABK deal. It's just about COD. There is more to this ABK deal than COD. Way more. Those IPs, franchises, all of that Microsoft will make available to PC gamers, to people who want a cloud game, to people who want to be on mobile. There's more options available if you are on the Microsoft Xbox side for games than there is if you were just solely keeping it on PlayStation, like and so on and so forth. I don't know. It's just the whole thing. The 10-year deal is like, that's really, really generous, and don't look a gift horse in the mouth. And they just kind of are. It just annoys me that they're just, I don't know, it feels like they're throwing their toys out of the cot, and they're willing to do anything to make themselves look like they're going to be so heavily impacted by this. They're not. Your fan base and your brand recognition is massive, PlayStation. It's huge. You're not going anywhere anytime soon. The only way you're going to go somewhere is if you continue to mess up in every situation, like putting your prices up, passing everything on to the consumer. Like, people talk, and eventually they're going to stop accepting all that crap, and they're going to get over it. And then they're going to go to somewhere else where they're not going to get treated like just a bank. And I know every company's trying to vie for your wallet and vie for your money and vie for your attention. But the biggest thing at the moment with streaming services and with the way everything is happening in the world is it's about vying for your attention, your time, and that monthly active users and how many people are engaged in playing games. Like when we had 20 million on Halo, 20 million on over 20 million on Sea of Thieves, you had 20 million on Forza Horizon 5. That's Microsoft actually and Xbox getting people's time, and that's the most important thing. If you're getting their time, you're getting them their money, and they just have a better, I feel like a better value proposition around that.
And that's what
on the
Xbox has always
side.
done, is
Yeah.
their player base has always supported the brand and the games. I mean, 20 million on Forza and others, and with a smaller player base than what Sony has on their games, and they only get typically around 10, half that.
Mm-hmm.
It shows you that we support the first party games when they do come out. But you guys are watching and listening the Gamers Initiative podcast with Elite Gaming Guru, RedDeadPanda, and myself, Ashtrey, with our special guest, KMega405. We are talking about the fact that Xbox has offered Sony, PlayStation a 10-year deal on COD, and they've stayed silent. Elite, your turn.
Yeah, well, I think, I think we've sort of covered that. I agree with everything everyone said. I think they're staying silent because, ultimately they just want to keep COD off Game Pass because they know they can't compete with that, and that's their true motive, really. I think exclusivity wasn't their issue. It is to keep it off Game Pass and to lose that exclusive content. I think they just want to shut the deal down, just full stop. They do not want Xbox to own anything, so they're going to say and do anything as long as Xbox does not own COD, because Jim knows that's their big money maker. He's a money man, and they will be fucked.
Don't they have in the current deal with COD that it can't be on Game Pass for 3 years?
Something like that. Yep.
Was that a deal? Was it?
I'm pretty sure a part of the current. I'm pretty sure a part of the current
deal. Right,
they can't put it on Game Pass. Yeah, there's something in the current deal that they can't put it on Game Pass
for 3 years
who
or
would
something.
make a deal like that? If you're not afraid of Game Pass or not worried about Game Pass, or you don't care about subscription services, or you don't think they make money, why would you then put
because they are worried. That's the reality of the situation. As much as they want to say we didn't create a our subscription service to compete with Game Pass, it's going to compete. Your fan base is going to make it compete. Shout out to Risket. Hello, Risket for the biscuit in the chat. Can you just install Halo and actually get good at it for once?
Oh,
please?
shit.
Just wanna say that. Yeah, get good.
Oof.
Damn.
But like, I mean, you're looking at this. It was announced.
That's
through,
a flap slap if I ever heard one.
Yeah. It was announced like through PlayStation that there's 29 million Game Pass subscribers at this point. We don't know if that includes, is that just console or is that console and PC? We don't know what that 29 million is consistent of. But that's just Game Pass. That doesn't take into account Xbox Gold for just online. And then you're looking at what's happening in the PS Plus subscription service, 48 million, something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I think they really see the writing on the wall. Once COD gets into Game Pass, it's going to be insane around where the subscription service just skyrockets. Who was it? Michael Pachter? Was it Michael Pachter? No.
Yep.
Is he the one who's saying like 100 million subscribers at one point, probably going to go into on Game Pass if COD goes, if the ABK deal goes through? And I think that's probably pretty accurate.
Nah, he's
overdoing it. But I think it's probably, you're going to see a jump. You will see a jump.
Maybe 50, 60.
Yeah, and this is the subscription.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, it'll be 50 quick.
Yeah, it'll be very quick. And this is Game Pass without all the first party day and day at the moment. Like, yes, they are day and date, but like we don't have those games coming in, like a lot of those games coming until 2023. And so there will be a wait because we have a lot of these COD games can't come into Game Pass right away because of those deals. But that 10-year deal, I do reckon, is going to probably why they've been silent on it. Will be around because I think that deal is inclusive of not keeping it off Game Pass. So they can still have it on Game Pass and they'll go, we'll give you this game for 10 years. And it just means that this game also gets to come to Game Pass within that 10-year time frame as well.
Indeed. Grey Monad in chat says UK's Amazon Black Friday sale #1 best-selling spot goes to the Series S.
Not surprising.
Very good.
Not surprising.
Yeah,
Not
that'll
surprising.
happen over in the US as well, no doubt.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. I reckon we move on to the next topic, Elite.
I've already got it ready loaded up.
Good-
So
good man.
Jez also reported on the UK regulator is actually investigating true monopoly,
Ooh.
which is Apple. Apple's blocking Xbox Game Pass from their products.
From the App Store on iOS.
Yeah, because obviously they don't want people to play Xbox games over their own games, so they're just blocking them off their system completely. What's your take on that, RedDeadPanda?
Well, when this first came out, what was it? They did the beta testing, and then it was announced that the reason why they were having issues with it is because for each game that is on Game Pass, they wanted Microsoft to pay something in relation to that.
30%.
Yeah, 30% for each game. And they're like, that's not how it works. And the way Apple treats other subscription services, they're not going, well, for each TV show or for each movie, you need to pay this percentage on like Netflix or Disney Plus or anything like that as an app. So the way they're treating subscription services in relation to entertainment that is consumed just by watching it versus actually interacting in a video game just seems a bit hypocritical in that respect. And I think it is pretty fair to say that they should be investigating Apple blocking that ability on iOS because it's not blocked anywhere else, and there is a duopoly in relation to the cell phones and the not just iOS, but like Android and iOS, and that's like it. There's like a couple of other operating systems on cell phones, but nothing in comparison to what Google Play does and Apple's Store does. So I think very much needs to be looked into it because they are being very anti-competitive in that space. And I just think the whole thing's just about time it got looked into. And I know that Microsoft was having issues around that. And I think this is something that you should be investigating. Because when Microsoft went to which regulators did they go to? And they brought they brought the Switch, they brought an Xbox, they brought a PlayStation, and they kind of showed them what was happening with Game Pass and like all the offerings and how, in relation to these games going out worldwide and etc. etc. But that's just showing that in that space, the limit to how you choose to interact with your video games or access your video games, there aren't a lot of limits placed on that. But when you're doing it via iOS for Apple, there is a lot of limits, a lot of constraints, and a lot of ways that they can be anti-competitive and try and prevent other people accessing these games in an easy, accessible way. So they are limiting that. We looked at Epic suing Apple as well.
Indeed, we did.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the fact that I have to have an Xbox app, a Game Pass app, a family Xbox app. Shits me a little bit. It'd be nice if it was all in one, right? But the big change, which was probably close to 2 years now. I don't know time frames that well, but the Xbox app used to have the store in there where you could buy games, and that's what they've sort of stopped doing, which is unfortunate. So hopefully that they can look into all of that and get the store back on the app, because it'd be good if you're on your lunch break or something and you can purchase a game through your phone. Rather than having to wait till you get home or jump on the browser or something, it's just easy because it's there. And then when it comes to the cloud gaming side of things, is because we all know why they're restricting the cloud gaming, and it's got to be done through the browser, is because they want to obviously do their own cloud gaming at some point. They must be working on it in the background, and they want to make it difficult for Xbox and other companies to play their games through cloud gaming. So the way I have to do it is actually basically save the browser as an app. So it's technically another bloody app that I've got to have for cloud gaming on my phone. And when I open that up, it takes me to the browser version, which looks pretty good. But again, it's just separate. It should be within the Game Pass app, which the Game Pass app should be within the Xbox app, and there should be a bloody store attached. And it's just, they're just making it difficult. But I can understand Xbox also not wanting to give up 30%, because then, that's what they make from it themselves, typically. So why would they want to give that away? So that's kind of fair. Watch this space, because whatever happens here with the outcome of the Xbox situation is going to affect Apple and what they want to do down the track in the future of when they do all this sort of stuff, when they want to release games and apps and things, and they're going to want to do it on Android, and they're probably going to want to have things on Xbox as well. So what goes around comes around, I think.
Well, it's about making everything fair, and those governing bodies improving the industry in a way that looks out for the consumer and isn't just about protecting that one company, because it's not
competition.
It's about competition, and like, when you don't have anyone competing with you, you can do whatever you want and there's no say. But when you add an extra person coming into the competition, you then have to relook at what you're doing on your side, or else because if that other company starts undercutting you, maybe you need to rethink your practices, because you're not actually doing right by the consumers. And I think this is really important that this gets looked into, because it's about Apple just doing what they always do. They kind of, I'd say, gatekeep in regards to a lot of their products, because you can't use their products with anything else. And it's the same with, they only want you to use their Apple Gaming or whatever the hell it's called, and so on and so forth. So they're trying to really, really funnel you into just using everything Apple, when there's better things out there, and that can challenge them and make Apple better, but Apple doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, I think it's, there's all of that, but I think it's just trying to suppress competition, and that's where it sort of doesn't give or limits or reduces the consumers' options, and that's where it's the main thing. Obviously, a business has to make money and do what they need to do, which they are, but then once it sort of affects competition, and again, more importantly, the consumers' options, that's not good. So it's good that they're getting investigated for it, and hopefully there's a good outcome.
Because I think Google's going to also be on the other side of that as well, in the sense of being investigated, because those Apple and Google hold so much power in that space for mobile.
Yeah,
so much power, and they really need someone to come in there and shake it up a bit.
Indeed.
Kamega, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't follow it. I haven't followed it. This is really the first time that I really heard about it, except for when I was reading the topic. It is.
At least you're honest, Elite.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie about it. It is good to see, and that's why I don't want people to get so upset about the commissions across the world, because of the fact that it is necessary, because of companies that we've seen do the things that they've done. Apple definitely is one, for sure, and there need to be some forms of regulation. I mean, all you got to do is look at certain things with the situation with that Taylor Swift stuff with Ticketmasters, and then the other entity that merged back then, and that caused a lot of issues. They were supposed to stop all that, but they were. But now it's come to realize that the people that were against Ticketmasters and the other ticket company, they said that these situations wouldn't resolve anything. It's just that they just want to merge. And now we look like 10 years later and we see that. So it is necessary. So I don't have a problem with people looking at the Microsoft Activision deal like that. But I just hope that these commissions do that with everything. And so, like with the whole situation with Apple's been getting away with murder for a very, very, very long time. So for everything that I was hearing what Panda was saying, like, I agree with 100%. Like, it needs to be checked. Epic, I mean, they shouldn't have had to go through the situation they had to go through. I mean, if you really think about it, that Epic Apple case kind of opened up everything, so kind of brought it to light to all types of the inner goings that goes on into the gaming industry and then just beyond. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. So yeah, no, I hope that Apple gets that the Apple has to do gets regulated and has to do the right thing for everyone included, because the company it still is going to make money hand over fist. So, stop with the greed, stop with the locking stuff up. I mean, if you know that Sony kind of follows Apple's lead in that regard, and then maybe that will start making other companies start paying attention to, maybe doing things better with the other companies out there. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, that's true, man. Every time there's a lawsuit between two big tech giants, it's always going to have a flow-on effect or a ripple effect to other cases that come up. So they're usually it's gonna tighten things up as we move forward, but it's also going to become more fair, especially for the consumers. And that's all I care about is us consumers, because these guys have billions and billions of dollars. So that's more for us. Now, Elite had to drop out. He had some family stuff come up, so he just bounced out real quick. But I do believe we could probably move on to the next topic anyway, which is Phil Spencer received Legend Award at New York Game Awards. Well, he is a legend. We've known that for years, haven't we? Since, I mean, I don't think anyone's done as much work as Phil's done for Xbox.
Yeah.
I think, there's been some good guys in that kind of role that have pushed the brand forward in certain circumstances, and some that have tried to ruin it. But no one's done what Phil's done, and he's had a lot of weight on his shoulders since he took over in 2013, which is 9 years now. So he's moved mountains in 9 years. Obviously, he's got a good team underneath him and around him, and support from up above as well.
And he's a gamer at the end of the day, which you can clearly see.
Well,
by what he's done.
He's been playing that Vampire Survivor like he's like you. Like, it's just he's been on it all the time. I keep seeing him in the friends list. He can't put that game down at the moment.
So addictive.
But
That's what I'm going to be playing later today.
Yeah, definitely get onto it. So, look, I mean, it makes sense that he gets an award. As an executive, you're going to get awards from time to time, but a Legend Award is pretty epic. It's pretty cool. He should have that a part of his status, or his job description, in there as well. That'd be pretty cool. But did you guys hear about this during the week? And what are your thoughts?
Yes, I heard about that. It is. Listen, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I would even go a step further and say that other than when Nintendo was going through their woes, there's probably not have been another CEO in the gaming space that has put as much work in as Phil has, and become successful. Because really, if you think about the Xbox One, especially just the bad press of how that was, and then it was just an avalanche of just problems, all the lack of funding and all of that, and then to come out and to give us the Xbox One X, just to say, look, we're here, we're not going anywhere. That was just a thank you for Xbox gamers for just still being there. Xbox was in a position. Sony was right there, was ready to give them the death blow at the beginning of this gen.
They tried to, didn't they?
Yeah, no, yeah, there was no doubt. They saw they saw blood in the water. They were ready to finish them off at the beginning of the generation. Because if you think about it, PlayStation would have had exclusive, year or not, it still would have been exclusive of having Starfield. You had Ghostwire Tokyo, Deathloop, plus you had God of War, Horizon Forbidden West,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, and everything, Returnal, all the rest of that stuff. And then on top of that, and then the Final Fantasies and Forspoken, all of those things. And even if those things did get pushed back, it's still, when you looked at what Xbox, people would still be waiting for those games that when Xbox picked up the studios in 2018, they still have to continue to work on the games. And so what would it be available, except for like with games with GamePass, or we definitely wouldn't have had a publisher of the year for last year. So it would have been it was just, Phil took something that normally you would have seen a company getting ready to fold or wouldn't believe in, but he made the move to go to Sadia and let him know, look, we either all in or we need to give this up.
And this
I
is
mean, that's
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And so to have a person who wasn't on board with gaming, thought that gaming was pretty much unnecessary, and was already ready to get rid of it, to have him to get on
Be right
board
back.
to now everybody calls Satya the Godfather because he's telling Sony let there be competition. The man is done miraculous work, and I think that he's setting up to have his predecessors be in a really good spot, because I think this generation is going to be, if I don't know if it'll catch up to the 360 generation, but it will definitely be reminiscent of the 360 generation, because I think that we just had to get through 2022. I think 2023 and beyond going to be just incredible, just because of the fact, and that's even without the Activision deal. Let's just say that deal doesn't go through. There's still other things that they got, that Microsoft still has in the pipeline that we don't know yet, that they're already going to get acquired, that they're going to announce. So it Xbox is back in a bigger and better way, and it has Microsoft's backing, something that Xbox hasn't had since when Xbox first jumped on board and made Bill Gates believe in it. So
Yeah.
yeah, Phil's done a fantastic job.
He's done an amazing job. And just to kind of
Yeah.
add a bit more context for those who are like, what's this award? And like, it doesn't seem that massive. This is the 12th annual New York Game Awards. It's been 12 years that they've been doing this. And for them to recognize him, and like, this has gone to, like, Tim Schafer's got an award before, Jade Raymond, Todd Howard, Rockstar Games got an award, Hideo Kojima got this Legend Award as well. Because the actual award itself, the Andrew Yun Legends Award, recognizes individuals and organizations who have shown significant and sustained body of work that is indicative of exceptional artistic achievement and innovation. And I think he is well deserving of that. 100%. What he's done, he's the exact type of person you want in a gaming company, in this industry. He's shown so much commitment to Xbox, making it the most consumer friendly and platform in the console gaming space. He changed Xbox from basically being non existent in 2013, bringing in backwards compatibility, doubling down on gaming, and like showing that they were definitely all in on gaming, acquiring all those studios in 2017 and making that announcement. Announcing more studios being acquired in 2018, showing us the revised version of the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X, getting rid of the oh my god, Connect bundled in day one on the Xbox One, and then like just consistently just turning it around and putting um what the games anywhere. I can't think of what it was called, but you can play if you
Yeah,
owned a game
games.
on
Yeah.
console, you could play it on PC. If you owned it on PC and it was through the Microsoft Store, you could play it on console. You had cloud saves that went between the two, so it didn't matter where you chose to play your game, your save went with you, and you could pick it up right where you left off. Introducing Game Pass, adding day and date into Game Pass, adding the preview program into Game Pass, allowing indie devs to kind of get recognition in their games that they never saw before, and the amount of people trying their games out who would have never even looked at them ever is insane. Like, there are so many indie games that I've played through Game Pass I wouldn't have given a second look, and I'm so impressed by that. I have a multitude of games at my fingertips that I just would have never thought about touching before until I got onto Game Pass, because like there is a very simple entry level cost price into accessing those games. And if I really like them enough, I can choose to buy them at a discount through Game Pass as well. Like, he's truly pushed the medium forward around where Xbox is going and made them a really important pillar within that industry. And so this just, I don't know, he's just an exemplary figure in that respect. And a lot of us Xbox gamers do have so much respect for Phil. A lot of other people do as well, for what he's done with Xbox and the way he's now maneuvered himself into being a very important person within gaming in Microsoft in general. So I'm so happy that they are presenting him with this award next January, like in like just over a month's time. He's going to get this award because he's done so much for Xbox in that space, and it can't be overlooked, and you can't just ignore it. For those who don't think he's anything but like fake or anything like that, no, he plays with the games. He knows what games we're playing. He plays with us online as well, and they listen to the consumer. And if we don't like something, like when they tried to double the price of gold, they revert that. I mean, they haven't always done everything great, but it's a learning curve, and they've consistently showed that they are listening to their consumer base and trying to offer a competitive and consumer friendly proposition within the market that challenges the other companies already there to also take a second look, whether or not they're going to act on it. And for those in the PlayStation side who are consistently complaining, there's a reason why you're complaining, because you're not entirely happy with what's happening there, and you're looking over there and go and just, jealousy as well. That exists. Yeah, I don't know. Well done. I can't say that. I mean, he deserves more than just a Legend Award. He's done such a great job.
Don't worry,
with
he's getting
leadership.
paid very well.
Oh, I know he's getting paid very well. Yeah.
Well, Seamus Blackley made Xbox. Phil Spencer saved it. So
Yeah, there you go.
he'll always be a legend to us gamers out there forever.
And don't forget about the Xbox staff as well. With
Yes.
you got to think about DirectX with Greenberg and them. I mean, I'm saying, so it's
Team effort.
Yeah.
It was a team effort, and going back, I know Shannon Loftus, she got a lot of heat, but she also was a pioneer as well,
Yes.
for what she did, and shout out to her. I mean, and just so many else, and Bonnie Ross for saving Halo, because regardless of what you feel about her direction with Halo,
It's still here.
it's still here, and you can play it right now, and it's still relevant, even though it's in a down space right now. But there's so many people that's a part of this, but Phil made this thing run. So you got to you can't
Gotta
say
give him
enough
props
about the
there.
guy.
Yeah.
You got to give him props for it, especially if you're an Xbox fan. There's
Yep.
no doubt about it.
Absolutely. And even Mike Ybarra, before he left, he was part of that
might
team
come
as well.
back. Yeah. Him
Well,
and Rod.
he is
yeah.
back,
He
right?
is. He is
They
back
will
once
be.
that acquisition happened. Who was it? Rod Ferguson?
Yeah, Rod
from
Ferguson.
CS?
Yeah.
Also coming back as a result.
Yep. Coming back. Yep. So-
I still think they were planted there, but anyway, that's my conspiracy theory side to you, man.
I think so as well. Yep.
Absolutely.
I think Bonnie Ross is going to come back too, but I think she's going to do stuff with Activision. So not
interesting.
So much, she's not going to do anything with Halo, but I think when she's going to come back, I think it's going to be something with Activision. She'll be head honcho doing stuff there. Don't know what position, but I could just see that happen.
Yeah, you never know, man. You never know at all. So,
Mhm.
now that's pretty interesting stuff. We do have one more topic to go. Now, this show's probably felt like it's gone on forever. It has for me today, but that's okay. Elite, again, bounced out. He was here earlier. He said he had some family stuff he had to quickly attend to, so that's all right. The last topic we do have, though, is the Game Awards. This is the 2020 Game Awards nominations, and which are led by God of War Ragnarok and Elden Ring. There's 31 or 32 categories altogether, so it's
Jeff
quite
Awards.
the Keeleys, I think they're also known as. There's a lot of PlayStation games in here, which is quite.
I mean, there weren't a lot of Xbox games released this year, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I think we'll see a huge difference in what type of games are up, or who they're from this time next year. But I voted. I always jump on, log in, and vote to what I think. I don't want to go through every single category because it's just far too much to go through.
Some
Like I
of them
said,
are pointless though, like best influence, whatever, best content creator, and I'm just like, nah, we'll skip those.
yeah, I think a lot of them need to be skipped. But Game of the Year, we have A Plague's Tale, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, For Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. In your opinion, K Mega, which one would you choose, or which one do you think?
Ring.
Elden
Elden
Ring?
Ring. Yeah, it
Mm.
did something. It defined a genre that I hate into making me enjoy so much that I beat it and can't wait for some DLC or a sequel. Now, if there was a Dark Souls 3, I'm like, hell no, not interested. Um, but for Elden Ring, that's just telling right there of how special that game is, in my opinion.
There you go.
Mm.
Red?
Okay, I voted also, and I voted for Elden Ring. It was a mix between Elden Ring and A Plague's Tale. But I agree with K Mega. Like, Elden Ring did something that no other game I feel like did this year. It really just it went nuts. Everyone was playing, everyone was talking about it, everyone was jumping in and helping each other. But like the game does not hold your hand. And I know when we're talking about games that don't hold your hand, you had um Zelda Breath of the Wild, where you just start there and then you kind of go off and do anything in whatever order, and you can choose to try and finish the boss at this point, and it doesn't hold your hand around that. But like Elden Ring took it an extra step further, and I don't know, I can't describe sort of the impact that that game had when it released. It overshadowed everything. Horizon Forbidden West was basically non-existent when Elden Ring came out. Like, yes, poor them releasing around the same time. But that game just needed to be here and needed to be nominated for Game of the Year. I hope it wins. I really, really, really do. But it's got stiff competition in the way that God of War Ragnarok has just released. But like game like Stray, I do not feel like Stray needed to be needed to be in there. Maybe more like Tunic could have been in there. Something else could have been in there. There were definitely better games than Stray for Game of the Year. And I guess my biggest annoyance about all of the nominations is like you've got this cutoff date for these nominations, yet they released the nominees in those categories before the cutoff date. I'm like, well, you can't release the nominees in these categories if you still have other games that could come out that might be deserving of these awards as well. You should announce the nominations once you have the close date.
It makes no
That's when it
sense,
should come
right?
out. It makes no sense
I
at
don't
all to
understand
me.
that.
I don't
Hmm.
understand it either, and it just
It
seems
it
so
goes by
disingenuous.
what I was told was that it goes by who gives you who gives those people that um are
The
going
people
to
who are
be
voting.
nominating these games. Yeah, the vote, not the people, not us, but
The
like
jury.
the people that are
The
the
jury, yeah.
jury or whatever.
Hmm.
That they have to give those games to them in a timely manner so they can go through them and beat them or whatever.
And I
And
know
some
that
games, because that was what Forza, they said, quote unquote, was the issue, is that there was not enough copies sent to them in a timely manner in order for them to nominate Forza for Game of the Year. Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah, well, it still doesn't make sense that they still announce the
I agree.
nominations for the group until like while they still have other games that could potentially come in. And I know that from my understanding of what I've listened to around how the jury actually vote on the nominations and decide who gets into these categories and be the final set. Um, but they were talking about how like if a person goes back in and they can change their vote if they don't think that that nomination that they originally picked up or chose because another game's come in and they've played it and they've enjoyed it more, they can go back in and change it. But it's like I don't know. It just seems interesting. I mean, looking at the games that released this year, there were some other games that I feel like definitely should have um been in there, like best sound design. I mean, I'm surprised that like Sonic Frontiers, they had great sound and music in that game. And then some of the other stuff that was nominated, I'm like, yeah. So there's a lot of umming and ahhing, but again, it's very subjective and very opinionated around that. I could have a completely different game of the year in comparison to Ashtrey or yourself, K Mega. And I think that's the biggest thing. It is very, very subjective. And around that. Yeah.
All right. We'll just go through a couple more categories. We'll go skip that one. What about best narrative? So, A Plague's Tale, Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality were up for best narrative.
I think I voted on A Plague's Tale. That narrative in that game, the story of what they're trying to do, and they're pulling it in from the previous one. And you can see, if you haven't finished it and you haven't played it, do recommend where they're going to go with the third game. Very interesting. Yeah.
All right. K-Mega?
What was the categories?
Best.
Because
No,
I'm just now looking at it now to vote on some stuff.
You're right, man. Best narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. You have A Plague's Tale, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, and Immortality.
You know what's crazy is that I would go with Immortality
There you go.
because it was really, really, it was a good STEM story. But again, I love games like that. Like it's not, Detroit is kind of like that game in a sense, but it's different because it's not a live action, type of game. But if you've got a chance to play Immortality, now because of the sex scene, Jesus Christ. But the fact of just how crazy that story was and how compelling, you would see why I got the high rating that it did. And unfortunately, I haven't played God of War yet, and I haven't played Horizon Forbidden West. So I would so far for that, and I've only just booted up Requiem, so I can't give it there. That would probably be my go-to after I beat since I beat Plague's Tale back in August.
Dust Falls didn't make it into here.
I agree with that. I would think that should have been the game that would replace Stray.
Yep.
Because Dust Falls was excellent. But on this list, I would go with Immortality.
Indeed. All right, we'll jump on to the next one. Best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. You have Elden Ring again, God of War, Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Scorn, and Stray. I'll just go quickly and say I picked Scorn. I did play Horizon Forbidden West and some Elden Ring, although Elden Ring looks pretty cool. I really thought that the look, the art style, and that creepiness that Scorn offered was just, for me, just a great sort of artistic. And it's not something you see every day either. It's sort of out of the blue. It's a bit different, and it really kind of made you feel like you were there. And thought it was a pretty good looking game. Didn't finish it, but artistic wise, it was really good. Yourselves?
For art direction?
Huh?
For art direction?
For art direction, yes. Best art direction.
I'm gonna go with Scorn.
Yep.
In my opinion. Never gonna play it because it creeps me the hell out. But based on the whole everything about that particular art style and everything, that is insane, and it is well deserved with what they did with that environment and that world. And we haven't seen a game like that before to that scope. And I think it kind of overshadows everyone else. Like Horizon Forbidden West, well, you make some improvements, same art direction as last time. God of War Ragnarok, same art direction as last time. Elden Ring, beautiful as well. Stray, also beautiful in the sense of this type of art style. But I think Scorn really takes the cake in that respect, based on the direction the game went and I don't know, it just does. We'll never play it, don't like the art style, but you have to give props to them for what they've done.
Yep, fair enough. Okay, bigger.
Best art direction. I'm gonna have to go with Horizon Forbidden West. That to me is probably the best looking game that came out this year. I know that people will say maybe they'll say probably God of War Ragnarok. I don't dispute about Scorn because I play Scorn. It's got that Optimus feel to it. It's creepy. But when I first seen Horizon Forbidden West, being when it was displayed, and then I've watched gameplay of it and things like that, and since it's just going by what the art design, that is a breathtaking game. That game just looks absolutely stunning. So and then so actually I really can't wait to jump on it when it jumps on PC. So that's so I get a little because my GPU is more powerful than the PlayStation 5. So I'm looking forward to that. But I just think that just from what I've seen, just going because that's visual, I'm going to go with Horizon Forbidden West on that one.
Interesting. I only played it on the PS4, so I didn't get quite the same fidelity and stuff. Well, I don't have a PS5, so that was my only option. But I'm surprised you didn't pick Elden Ring for that, because that art style and that the art
look
style
is
beautiful.
It is beautiful, but it also has times when it looks last gen. It was such a weird game because you could tell when they really wanted to go all out to put some polish on Elden Ring. It just stood out. It was breathtaking, but then there was times when you were just kind of maybe mowing around on your horse or whatever, and it was kind of like this kind of looks last gen. So yeah, that's why I can't give it the best art direction.
Fair enough. I think maybe just do one more category, because I don't want to ruin it for everyone either. Maybe let me have a quick look. Is there a category you guys want to discuss by any chance? Here we go. What about best indie?
Oh, yes.
All right. So for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. All right. So you've got Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray, and Tunic. All quite solid games, really.
Yeah,
really.
I picked Tunic because that was the only one out of those that I've played so far. So I couldn't really speak on the... Yeah.
Okay.
I play a lot of Fortnite. Come on. You know this.
True. I picked Tunic because, like, I am through and through Zelda fan to my core, and it just felt like that, but harder, and like there was much more to like figure out, and all the puzzles, and like to go find the pages, and the game was so in depth, and it was so neat. Like Cult of the Lamb definitely deserves to be there. Neon White, yes. Sifu, yes. Stray. I think maybe Vampire Survivors should have been in there. Hey, Tiny King was such a cute little indie game.
Fantastic game.
And I feel like that maybe should have been in there. There are just so many indie games pushing our industry forward around what defines a video game and what type of mechanics you can do. And so for people to sometimes overlook this particular category, and I know people do, and people overlook indie games all the time because they just focus on the AAA. If you haven't tried one of these games, definitely give it a go. But Tunic for me in that space. But I mean, if there was like Tinykin or even Vampire Survivors, why did that not make it in? Because that is one great game.
Absolutely. I would have picked Tinykin if it was in there.
I would have picked Tinykin as well.
I really want a sequel to Tinykin, because that was
so good.
That was heaps of fun. If you haven't played it, K-Mega Man, you should.
No, I haven't played it, but I know a lot of people talked about it.
Yeah, Tinykin was such a surprise.
It really was.
So good.
It really was.
So good to play with other people. Yeah.
Absolutely. So K-Mega, your best indie. I'll read them again if you want.
I'm going to say Sifu. From their leap from Evolver to or Absolver, I think that's the game called, to Sifu, it's night and day. And they the combat, the vibe of the game, the feel of it, it's amazing. I can't wait, and hopefully the opportunity will come. The game will come sometime next year to Xbox. It's coming out to I think here on the 30th. It's going to drop on the Switch. So hopefully that gives it opportunity for it to drop on to maybe come to Xbox. But I went ahead and I got it on PC, and I was like, whoa, wow, this game is dope. So I'm gonna go with that. Another game that I have to give an honor. Let's see, I am going to see. I was gonna try
Honorable.
to say big words. Yes, I was
Honorary?
going to give another mention to is Neon White.
Yeah.
Very unique, and it looked when I first seen the trailer to it, I'm like, this looks horrible. Play it. It's pretty damn dope. So give that an opportunity as well. So and it's cheap on PC. Uh, yeah, not on the Switch, but it's you can get it for a really good price on PC.
Yeah, I don't game on PC, unfortunately. I'm an Xbox console gamer. So.
Oh, I'm Xbox through and through. It's Xbox PC for me, but and then some Nintendo slashed in. I mean, I still got my PlayStation, but it's just it's now becoming to where it's becoming my fourth most played thing. If not, I wouldn't say most, but it's like it's between third and fourth place now, compared to what I used to be back in the back in the 90s and early 2000s. It's crazy how the times has changed on what I prefer now.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, best debut indie game, Vampire Survivors was in there, and I voted for that.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yep.
Yep. Well, because Tunic and Stray were also, and even Neon White were all debut indie games for these developers, and so yeah, it's just really cool to see that. But yeah, I voted for Vampire Survivors because I was like, for me to be this addicted and don't care about graphics, and it's just a gameplay loop, and you can just, I don't know. I love Tunic, but I can just pop on Vampire Survivors and I don't really care because once you get yourself up high enough, you can just sit there and like go do whatever you need to do and come back and your character's still alive killing everything.
Yeah, I'm not up to that point yet, unfortunately, but I'll get there. I'm still grinding the first level, actually. I've opened the second level and I've got about five or six different characters, but yeah.
Second level's the best one to grind when you're trying to evolve things and figure things out. It's a really good level to grind.
Oh, okay.
Inland library, yeah. So you should definitely grind that. Yeah.
All right. I just prefer the sort of more open one, but look, I got to get going. So you guys happy to wrap up?
I wanted to just say the one right here that I thought that, and I hate that this game keeps getting snubbed, and that's best community support.
Yep.
There's no reason why Sea of Thieves should not be in this.
I know.
Or Grounded, but definitely, but since Grounded is kind of now officially got released in September, so that's fine. But Sea of Thieves,
ongoing game. Sea of Thieves gets snubbed every year.
And best community support. I mean, like, what? Come on, man, stop it.
It's it's because it's an Xbox game.
Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
So
I don't get
that's my only thing I got to say on that. So
nope. Fair call. All right. Well, I think we should wrap this up. It's nearly it's 11 o'clock here. K Mega, thanks for guesting for us. We really appreciate it, even though we had a bit of stuff up with the times. It worked out really well, and being patient with us getting things rolling. But let everyone know where they can find you. I'm sure they know exactly where to find you, but if you want to let us know your channel or your Twitter and all that good stuff.
Yeah, come follow me on Twitter at KMega4. Be greatly appreciated. On Xbox at KMega405, on PlayStation KPOC405, on Switch KMega405. I don't know why I switched it on PlayStation. I'll probably switch it back to KMega405 when I do. But anyway, but yeah, you could catch me tonight later on doing my podcast. It's going to be wild. I got my adult beverages ready. I'm going to get started now. Here in about 2 hours, with the GRG podcast will be on my channel, KMega405 on YouTube. So hopefully you guys will check me out. If not, I let it run live on Twitter, so you can catch me there on Twitter at KMega4. Plus, we'll be streaming. I haven't streamed in a while because of a whole bunch of other issues, but situations. But I'll be back to doing my streaming. Fight Night Sundays will return to where I play all different types of fighters. That is my favorite genre to play. So about 7:30 p.m. Central Time, I'll start getting revved up and start playing fighters and all night long. So hope you guys want to join me, want to play with me, or just want to shoot the shit. Let's do that. But yeah, thanks for the invite, man. It's you know what I'm saying. Hit me up anytime, man. I really do appreciate it. I love doing this stuff.
Yeah, man. I was scrolling through and I'm like, oh man, I haven't spoken to K-Mega in ages. I need to hit him up and see if he's interested. So I'm glad I did, man. And it's always good to have you on. We should have you on more often. And
I got to get you guys back on GRG when y'all got some time, man. See what I'm saying? So
absolutely. And we'll have to play some of that Crackdown this weekend too.
I'll tell Don, and Don will be down for it for sure tomorrow night. So if y'all down to come through, just hit me up on just hit me up in the DMs on Twitter or on Xbox. So and we'll set it up.
Sounds good. Sounds very good.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thanks for coming. Red.
Yeah.
Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, RedDeadPanda1, and then you can find me on Xbox at RedDeadPanda871. I'm on here when I never post anything, but yeah. I'll be online tomorrow, probably playing Vampire Survivors, but I will be down for some Halo or some
Crackdown.
Some Crackdown 3 multiplayer.
Let's
That would be quite cool. Yeah, that'd be me. I've just added you as a friend on Xbox, K-Mega.
Okay.
Have we been on any of J-Rock's like community game nights? Have we been on those
No,
nights?
I miss those because normally when he does them, I'm doing GRG. So yeah, so or I'm probably out and about with the wife or something like that.
Fair
So
enough,
yeah, no,
fair
but I can't wait to get a chance to jump on J-Rock stuff. Though.
Well, shout out to all of those in the chat who came here and joined us and watched us live. Sorry, I'm a bit off today. Just massive headache. Had a big night last night, so yeah. It was good.
She
I got back
said,
home at like 3 in the
yeah.
morning. It was great. We had our end of year work due, and I didn't drink too much. It was just the music that really, really set me off. My voice is quite sore from like screaming to talk over the music. Yeah, it was great. Had a good night though.
Nice. All right, well, guys, you can find me at Ashtrey Gaming everywhere: Xbox, PlayStation, Twitter, YouTube, Hive, Mastodon. I'm all on there. I don't really use the other ones. I just created those just so I could secure my name and stuff more than anything else. I recently featured on Ham Solo's show, Between the Sticks, so check that out. That was Tuesday, just gone. So that was a cool little interview with Ham, chopping it up with him live on camera, and that went for about 2.5 hours. So that was cool.
So you talk just as much as I do. You give me shit.
Y'all didn't do nothing. We went damn near 4.
Damn.
well, I was like, I had stuff to do, so I couldn't stay on for much longer.
Well,
I could have kept talking.
We couldn't go any longer because I got on at 5 p.m. my time and got off at just after 8 p.m. And for him, it started at 12:30 midnight and went till 3 a.m. So he was very accommodating to suit my time and was able to jump on after work. So appreciate that from him. I do make videos every now and then. My last one was about a month ago now on the Black Friday sale, the Target deal that's done 2.5k views with only 133 subs. So that's really good. Proud of that. I only make videos when it feels right and I'm interested in the topic, so I don't just randomly make them every week. I sort of just do it as need be. But that's it from me. So thanks everyone for checking us out today. Again, thanks K-Mega for guesting for us. Elite was here. He did jump out, but he'll be back next week. Peace out, everyone. Keep it real.